What's up, guys? We're going to be looking at 7.4 today, continuing with Chapter 7, talking about similar figures. So what you're going to look at is to identify similar figures and to use proportions to find missing measurements in similar figures. So let's go ahead and jump into some vocabulary. You'll want to pause and copy all of this down. Similar figures have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. Not necessarily means they could have the same size, but they don't have to. If figures are congruent, then they are automatically similar. The ratios of the lengths of corresponding sides in similar figures are proportional. The symbol is this. This means similar. Notice that if it were congruent, it'd have the equal sign under it. But if it's just that little wavy line, that means it's similar. If two polygons are similar polygons, then corresponding angles are congruent, and the lengths of corresponding sides are in proportion. So corresponding angles have the same, so 6,4 is the same as 64, 61 is the same as 61, 55 is the same as 55. All of the angles must be the same. Corresponding sides means that the ratio of this over this is the same as this over this. Okay, so the corresponding sides would be in proportion to one another. We have a couple examples where we will be looking at that in just a second, but your daily funny needs to come first. Have you ever hear of the movie Constipation? Nope. That's because it hasn't come out yet. Look at his face. I like it when dogs look like humans, when they make human expressions, and that's what happened there. All right, so identifying similar polygons. It says, is rectangle LMNO similar to rectangle HIJK? And explain. Well, the first thing that we need to look at are the angles congruent? All right, there's two questions that we got to ask here. Are the angles congruent? Well, this is a right angle, that's a right angle. All of the angles, in fact, are congruent for it to be a rectangle. They're all 90 degrees. So the answer to this question is yes, they are. So that's the first part. The next part that we got to ask is, are sides proportional? These are the two questions that we're asking. So are the sides proportional? Well, there's a couple ways you could set this up. I could do 4 over 10 compared to 3 over 8, or I could do 10 over 8 compared to 4 over 3. There's different ways to look at it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this 4 should match up with the 3. So 4 over 3. I want to know, is it equal to 10 over 8? Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. You could simplify these, but the other thing you can look for is, are the cross products equivalent? So here I have 4 times 8, which is 32. 3 times 10 is 30. And those two values are not equal to each other. So the sides proportional is no. So we would say that this is not similar. Now, if we came out to values that were the same here, then we would have similar figures. So angles congruent, yes, but sides proportional, no, based upon cross products being equivalent. So that means this is not similar. Here's one for you to try. The answer will be up in 3, 2, 1. Whoops, now will be up in 3, 2, 1. All right, first of all, whenever you have problems that are describing a shape but they're not drawn for you, you should draw them out. I apologize for that little line. I don't know why that popped up there. But you should go ahead and just draw the shape so that you have a visualization. Now, if they're rectangles, that means all of the angles are 90 degrees, so all of the angles are congruent. So we passed that test. The next thing that we got to figure out is, are the sides proportional? So I did 27 over 54 needs to equal 18 over 36. But you could have done 18 over 27 equals 36 over 54, and it would still work for you. And when you cross multiply these, you find that both of them are equal to 972, which means that, yes, these are proportional, which means, yes, those figures are similar. So both of those things must be true. It has to have congruent angles and proportional sides. All right, so here's an application of this. It says you are designing a poster. A sketch for the letter H is shown. Here's my sketch. The letter will be 9 inches tall on the poster. If the two letters are similar, what is the width of the poster? So here is my second H. Again, I'm a big fan of drawing pictures. I encourage you to draw some pictures on this. the letter's going to be 9 inches tall, and it has to be similar to this. Okay, I need to figure out what is the width of this. It's an unknown value, so I'm going to assign it a variable, which we will call x. Now, because they're similar, it means that these sides will have to be proportional. So 9 over 5 will have to equal x over 4. Notice it's larger one to smaller one, larger one to smaller one. It's my unknown value. Now I just have a simple a proportion to solve here. So I have 9 times 4 is 36, and then 5 times x. So I get 5x equals 36. Divide both sides by 5. And x equals 7.2. So the answer here is 7.2 inches, and that's using proportions. This is stuff that you do in 6th grade. So you should be comfortable with that, but if you're not, you need to seek out help when you're in class. All right, so let's keep moving here. Here's one for you to try. The answer will be up in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I got 11.2 inches. Check your answer against that. If you didn't get the same thing, you'll need to go back and find your mistake. All right, one more thing to look at for this particular lesson. It says, in the figure, triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEC. Find the value of x. Notice this is overlapping similar triangles. Anytime there's an overlap, in general, it's easier to draw it out. So I'm going to draw this first triangle, the larger one. So that is ABC. And I know that AB is 18. And then if I'm looking down here for BC, I don't have the full length, but I have this 8 and this 16. All right, so BC is 8 plus 16, which means that BC in total is 24. For my smaller triangle, which is DEC, I don't know this value. It says find the value of x. There's my x. And then I know that EC is 16. So here are my two triangles. They match up with their corresponding sides. So I need to find this x value. So I'll do this triangle over this. So I'll say 18 over x should equal 24 over 16. So there's my cross products. So let's go ahead and do x times 24 is just 24x. And then 18 times 16 is 288. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 24. And x equals 12. Okay, so x equals 12 on that. Again, that's drawing these triangles out so that they're not overlapping. I encourage you to do that because it makes it easier to see. All right, so here is one for you to try. The answer will be up in 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's what I got. That x is equal to 21. You need to check your work against that. And I believe, yep, that's it for today. So hopefully you took good notes. I will see you in class.